Welcome back to the Piney Woods Homestead, y'all. Yesterday we dispatched and cleaned our last hog of the season. If you're new to the channel, we are farrow to finish to freezer. We do it all right here, like they did in the old days. We do not include a processing facility. We are the processing facility. So we try to show you that you can do it on your own, and we show you how we do it. We don't show you cleaning the pigs just because we don't raise 50 head at a time to where we don't develop a bond with those animals. We are raising 3, 4, 5 at the most at the time. We have our hands on them every day. And y'all, they're not pets at all because we eat these animals. But you develop a bond with them when you've got your hands on them every day. You're patting them behind the ears, trying to keep them gentle because you want a gentle animal when it comes time to harvest that animal. But I want to show you real quick before we get into the video what we do. After we've cleaned that pig, gutted it, skinned it, we skin first and we gut. We have that hog down the middle and we lay it on top of some foam board insulation with clean plastic sheathing. And that animal's wrapped up in clean plastic sheathing. And on every major part of the hog, we put bags of ice. Even though it was down into the low 30s last night, we still put ice on there just to cool that animal down quicker. Because in our experience, butchering a hog is a lot easier to do when it is cold and firm compared to warm and jiggly, if that makes any sense. So you really get your good cuts that way. We're going to show you a few of those cuts today. Show you how I break a hog down. We're going to show you one side broke down completely. We'll show you a little bit of sausage grinding, maybe a little packaging, and a little bit of stuffing for some bratwurst. Guys, thanks for stopping in at the Piney Woods Homestead. Hit that like and subscribe if you hadn't, and if you have, as always, y'all, we appreciate you. All right, I'm going to show you one side how I break it down. It's pretty easy. The first thing that I do is I get in here and pull up this fat. It's called caul fat. And then I'll pull this fat off. There's a membrane. And you see this, there's fat all on the back side of this membrane. That's going to come off of there. It just peels right off. And this is going to be, you can render this down for lard. It's really good fat. But what we do with our pigs is, if you'll notice right here, there is about a 3/4 inch fat cap, maybe an inch up here over the shoulders, but 3/4 to a half. That's a good fat cap. And a lot of folks ask us, why do you lean your hogs up? Why do you do that? Because, and I think the folks that have asked us that are commercial growers that maybe have never raised a heritage breed hog. I don't know. We've done both. When I was a kid, my dad was a commercial grower, but he started off with heritage hogs in the woods. But anyways, we lean them up. We will substitute some of the pellet feed for corn, so they'll get a larger corn ratio than pellet feed because there's less fat in it, less protein, and it helps that back fat that they've already packed on pretty good to lean up just a hair. That way you're not left with so much of it. But I get all of that fat off of there that I possibly can, because that's your flavor for your sausage. Y'all, I said this is caul fat. I don't think that's right. It's actually leaf lard. That's what people know it as. It's the best lard on the pig. But all this fat that's on the back, we're going to be trimming that too. It'll go in the same pile, and we will use that, mix it in with our whole hog sausage. Now, I'm going to separate the bacon from the ham, and we're going to take this ham off. I just come down the belly to where it joins, if you can see right here, where it joins the ham, and I just make me a cut all the way up to the, basically about to where that tenderloin's at right there. And then I'll take my saw, get it kind of an angle here, and we're going to cut this ham off. Now I'm through the bone, and I can take my old hickory and remove that ham. And there's a ham. And y'all, we'll actually debone this ham most of this pig, I shouldn't say most, around 50 to 60 pounds of this hog is going to be whole hog sausage, because that's the one thing that we're low on. And so we're going to do that. Got nice long loins. We'll get all that stuff too. But all right, so that's the ham. The ham's off. Just put it to the side and we'll come back to it. Now from right there, we are going to separate the front primal section, or the picnic shoulder roast shank. And all you do for that is I come down about 1, 2, 3, about between the 4th and 5th rib. You're not going to get a straight cut with the rib, but I come down 1, 2, 3, 4 right there, and I am going to make me a cut all the way across down through this bone. And as soon as you're through the bone, you'll feel it, because the saw will just fall through it. And take you a long knife and separate it. And now you have your front section, which is going to be, this collar is going to be peeled out of here. It'll be broke down into traditionally your Boston butt, your picnic, and your shank. Our shanks will cut off. We'll vacuum seal those whole. They are excellent barbecued, and what I mean by that is crock pot barbecue, if you're not familiar with that. Put your favorite sauce in there in the crock pot, let it go for about 8 or 9 hours on low. That shank muscle, that meat just falls off. It's excellent. Makes a great sandwich or what have you. But now we'll get on to getting our loins out and our bacon. Now I took my knife and I just came up through the side of that bacon and the loin to the first bone that I got to. And now we'll just reach down in here a couple of inches and cut this bone off. Cutting through the ribs. All right, through the bone, back to the old hickory. And we pulled our loin off of there. We'll get a boneless loin off of here and a sirloin chip roast off the end. And this, we're going to take our spare ribs off of it, and what's left to be our bacon. It's going to be good. Before I take these spare ribs off, I like to get that membrane, and I've got one of these little hooks. You don't have to have a hook, but I'll get up under that membrane like so. And if you get up under it, you can actually work your fingers under it and just pull. Sometimes it'll come off in one piece, sometimes it won't. But get that membrane off of there. Some people leave it. I just don't like the texture when it comes time to eat it. All right, I'm going to get these spares off of here. And these spares, y'all, are not as long as what you would sometimes see in the grocery store. And that's because part of this collar up here is still in. Those are actually trimmed down in one piece, but it's still a decent size spare. But what I do is I take my fingers and I run out here to where I no longer feel bone, so I know how far this spare is going to be. And I take my knife and I just kind of score that area so that I have a visual reference as I'm going around. Not too deep, because we'll get into bacon, but you just come up here to this top corner and I start making me a cut up near the bone. Trying not to go too deep so we don't get into the bacon. I'd rather have less meat on my ribs and more meat on my bacon. And what I have found, if you leave just a little bit of room to work yourself through here, And don't cut too shallow because you'll get into cartilage, and that cartilage will be on your bacon when you go to slice it, and that's no fun. But it's not. I am not an expert butcher, y'all. I've just butchered a lot of pigs at home, and so this is not an here's how the experts do it video. This is how we do it right here at the house. There's some of that cartilage. I try not to leave it on there because I have in the past, and I end up having to trim that out of the bacon later. All right, looks like I got it all out of there. And there is your spare ribs. A little bit of fat still left on them, and we don't worry about trimming that up too much. We're not trying to resell it. We don't need it to look pretty. We want that extra fat on there. And that'll eat just fine on the charcoal this summer. And keep you a cooler handy, y'all. Notice I've got the pitcock open on the other side and a piece of wood underneath it so that any water will drain. You want to keep your meat dry but cold. All right, y'all, what I do at this point is with my bacon, I just go ahead and kind of square it up a little. And the whole purpose of that is nice clean edges work really nice whenever you are using your slicer in about a week after this is cured. But we'll take trimmings from every bit of this hog and get into our sausage grind, but we're going to square it completely up to where it's uniform in shape. And I found out the last time I tried something different. Somebody had commented and recommended grinding in strips instead of chunks like we do here. So I tried it, and I stopped up the head of my grinder, so it may work in some circumstances, but not so much with this pork that I have found. So I'm gonna stick with the tried and true that we've been using for umpteen years, and that is chunking it up. One more side to square, just a little. All right, once you've got it squared up, what I do at that point is I go ahead and put it into sizes that our grinder is going to like, and our quart size vacuum bags.
Our slicer, not grinder.
Yeah, grind, slicer, I'm sorry. Y'all, my brain sometimes. Trying to do and think at the same time. And I go ahead and break it on down one more.
That's pretty bacon.
Looks good to me. Cut another piece here. Well, that's good. So there's the Loin.
Yeah.
It's beautiful bacon, y'all. These Herefords, we love them. We're very impressed with what we're getting here. And y'all, don't waste that. There's bacon in there too. We will actually, it's just going to be extra lean because it's kind of on the tail end, but that's one side of fresh bacon. 7 or 8 pounds of bacon right there. All right, here on the back side of the loin is going to be a tenderloin. If you can see that, and we're going to peel that out of there. It's going to run all the way to here. And that's the pork tenderloin. That's the prize. And you can clean that up, just fat on it. Trim it up. That's a good piece of meat. All right, now we're gonna get the sirloin tip roast off. And the way I do it, and this is the tail end of the hog, y'all, right over the hams. I come up just in front of this like half moon. I get my knife on there. I mean, my saw. Not my knife. Sirloin tip roast, and we'll take some of that fat off. But that's an excellent roast. And we got to trim a little bit. There's a little bit of stuff in here you don't want. And I just keep a 5-gallon bucket to throw all that stuff in. But that's the sirloin tip roast. And now you're left with your loins, or a loin from one side. And we'll trim the fat off of here and break this loin out here in just a second. Guys, at this point, I'm going to refer you back to last March when we did a full butchering video with Carolina Hill Country that came out. Because really, I just wanted to show you how to get it into the primals right here. And I've already done that, and I've gone beyond that. So I'm going to work on the rest of it, deboning and whatnot, getting our chunk ready for the grind. And we'll come back when we're doing a little bit of sausage and some stuffing, guys. All right, y'all, so we're a couple hours in. The hogs have been broke down. Everything has been put into the freezer to stay really good and cold. And Lisa has weighed out enough seasoning of our Southern blend from Walton's for 30 pounds of pork sausage, Southern sausage. And we actually go just a little bit heavy on that. And we're going to add some extra sage and pepper too. But just wanted to show you how we mix it. So we just take the seasoning over everything that's been cubed up already. Put that in. And we're going to do extra sage. And I do that by eyeball. And extra red pepper flake. And that's it, y'all. That's how simple that is. And we'll put it through the grinder twice, through a big plate, then a smaller plate. And then we'll show you packaging some of it up, guys. All right, y'all, we're using a stuffer that belonged to my great-grandfather, Enterprise, manufactured sometime in the late 1800s to real early 1900s. Thing works great. We're going to stuff this sausage up, and we'll show you what kind of bags we're using and how we seal it up. One sealed bag. Let's see what it weighs. .32 pounds. A little bit overstuffed, but that ain't bad. That works out good, y'all. All right, what we just got done doing, y'all, is 10 pounds of an onion and garlic bratwurst. We really like this onion and garlic. But it's just showing you there's different things you can do with a pig that you're going to butcher. It doesn't just have to be the basic stuff. You can make bratwurst, so you got a dinner, supper sausage. And these will come in really nice and handy when it's hot this summer. We can throw them on the grill with some of Lisa's homemade hot dog buns. Just something different, y'all, instead of just pork chops and breakfast sausage. Y'all, if you're curious at all, we started at 10 o'clock this morning butchering this hog. It is now 4 p.m. We just stuffed the last bit of brats into those collagen casings. And we are done. Now comes the fun, the cleanup part. But see, this is how we do it. As I'm butchering, deboning, Lisa is packaging all the individual cuts that I do, the pork chops, you name it, small roasts. I still have the bacon to put the dry rub cure on, but that takes all of 5 minutes. It'll go in the refrigerator for a week, and then we'll smoke it again, that hot and fast. That's the way we like to do it. If you have any questions, drop them below. We'll be glad to answer them for you. Guys, have a good day, a great week. We'll see you on the next video. It's time for a little R&R.